Hey guys, so for today's shave, of course we're doing another head shave. On my last video I started using my Gillette Slim 1966 that was replated in gold, and we're still going to use that. We're using that same Voskhod blade. It's on its third use, and this will be its final use. Last time I started on a setting 9 and worked my way down to a 4. I was at 9, 7, 4 for 3 passes. Today, I think I'm going to start off a little lower than that. I think I'm going to start off at a 7 instead of a 9. It went really well last time, which surprised me because, like I said, the Gillette Slim hasn't been my favorite shaver over the years, and it's one that I am highly considering moving. Even though the shave yesterday was really good, but I think a lot of that had to do with the Zingari Man Sago base being so great. But we're still on that fern kick. I was actually going to use Zingari number 1, the rose scent, today because I have that tub is pretty low, so I've been thinking about using it until it dies. But we're still on this Fougere kick, and I haven't videotaped all my Fougers yet. So this is the last Fougere I actually have. That the other one that I don't know if it's considered a Fougere. I kind of considered it, but I don't think it really is a Fougere technically, and that is my Tallow and Steel Echoes of Rain. It's a really nice, spicy, rich green scent, warm. But I don't technically think it's considered a Fougere, even though I consider it a Fougere. So I think this is technically my last Fougere in this series. So you guys saw Jungle Warrior, you guys saw the SV one, you guys saw the Holy Call Fougere Boutique, you saw the Zingari Man Mousse Illumine, and then there's today's. So this is my 5th Fougere, and like I said, I'm thinking about moving that SV or the Holy Caw, or maybe both. Just because I gotta say, out of all my Fougers, that these two, let's see, does lights help? Hopefully the video quality isn't too bad. It's kind of a gloomy, overcast day here in North Florida, but I don't know if those lights really are helping. I kind of feel like they're taking away a little bit. So hopefully the video quality is decent enough. But anyways, for today's Fougere, this one's a unique one. Again, that's why I love it. I do have a backup of this one. I don't know if they're coming out with it again this year, like this summer or what have you. I think it was released not last year, but the year before. And that's the HOM Declaration Grooming and Noble Otter collab Cerberus Fougere. And great artwork on it. And there is the soap pour. It's the Declaration Grooming Milk Steak base, so you can see it's very easy to imprint. So I don't really need to bloom it. Just because it's so soft, I feel like it's already pretty easy to overdo it with this. So I'm not going to bloom it today. I finally do have the matching splash. So I've had this soap for a while. Never had the matching splash because I bought it used. And the backup puck I bought used came with the splash. And you can see it's basically full. And I think the backup tub I got was only used once or twice. So this is going to be really cool. I think this is my first time using the splash, to be honest, because when I got that backup, it was wintertime and I didn't want to use the splash. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I'll be using this. We are going to use the PA Cube today. You don't need a pre-shave with Declaration Grooming, but I'm starting to try to use this up, so I'm going to start using it more. For today's brush, I was kind of back and forth on which one I wanted to use. And I'm almost thinking about doing a side-by-side again today. But this soap is so good, I don't know if I want to. And I do have a backup, but again, you can't get it all year round. So I don't know if I want to do a side-by-side today because that uses up more soap. But I was originally going to use this Turn and Shave M6 by Milton. And it's kind of hard to see, but that is a M and that is the number 6. And it's in the Galaxy Pour. You guys know I love his Galaxy Pours. And there's the knot, M6. And M6 has broken in nicely. At first, it was very similar to M5, except for that it had a lot more tip presence. But the more I've used it, that tip presence has gone away, and it's turned into very similar to my M5 batch of hair from Turn and Shave. But I'm still trying to get a good break-in on this H7. Again, Galaxy Pour. It is a different handle shape, though. You can see this one has the little flutes in there. And that's the main difference. Course density difference is this is high density, this is medium, and of course this is batch 7 here, and this is batch 6. But one reason I wanted to do a side-by-side today is because I looked at my card, and one thing I like about Turn and Shave, actually, you know what, let's get some water on the head. We're going to use that pre-shave, and we'll talk as we load. And I like to dunk it into the water, and again, I love this little, it's a camping collapsible cup slash little bowl, and it works great for dunking your brushes in. Again, I live RV life full time, so I know they make, certain artisans make brush, like little cups for that look really cool, and they're made out of like ceramic or porcelain, you know, things like that that are glass, easily to break. And I thought about buying a couple because I like them so much. But what stopped me is I don't have a lot of storage in my RV as is, and when I move, things can tend to break easily, you know, because you're moving on the road. The RV's, you know, depending on the road I'm on and the highway and the bumps, it tends to get a little bumpy. So I don't know if I want to buy something like that and then it breaks on me, because that would kind of irk me, to be honest. Man, I don't know. I'm back and forth if I should use the light or not, guys. I also have this light. Ooh, that's a little, yeah, that's a little too much. I guess we'll just go with what we got right now. But H7, so why I've been wanting to do a M6 compared to my H7 isn't so much because of the hair difference, but a big reason is because I noticed Turn and Shave does cards with his brushes, and I do like that because the card will tell you what batch of hair it is, if the handle has like a name, like this is the Galaxy Pour, it'll tell you the loft of the brush, and it'll tell you the diameter, like the millimeter of the knot itself. And I like that because when you resell, that's really cool because now that person knows that information, because a lot of brush makers won't even label what knot there is in that knot in that brush handle. So when you resell as a buyer, you're kind of taking a chance that that person remembers what knot it was. But anyways, my H7, I was looking at my card yesterday and I noticed it's set pretty low comparatively to my other H density knots. So this is set at like a 50.1 loft. And just a comparison, this M6, so it has less hair, right? So because it has less hair, you would think that you would basically want to loft it a little bit lower. And I know hair fibers also matter, so depending on the hair fiber thickness. But this one is a 51.6 or a 51.8. So this one is more than a whole, centimeter lower. So 50.6 and that, I mean 50.1, and that's a 51.6 or 51.8. So it's made me wonder, and that is going to affect your backbone, and it's going to affect how easily the brush is to splay, right? And what I've been curious is that M6 should already splay a little easier just because it's a lower density hair fiber. Not hair fiber, but can't talk today. It's a lower density option, right? Because it's less hair packed into that knot. It should potentially splay a lot easier. And same thing, like a low density should also splay a lot easier than a medium density. Just washing this off real quick. Set it down right there. But it's made me wonder that, would this have been a little bit even nicer of a splay? Now we're just going to dip the tips a little bit. If I would have asked him to do like a 51. Because what I noticed is even my other H densities, they're all like 51 and above, depending on the size. Some of them, like my 29mm H5, that sucker's set at 52. So it's kind of had me wonder, and I wouldn't say that this thing splays super hard, but yeah, I do have to push down a little bit. Comparatively to using, say, like my M that I used in yesterday's video, the M5, that one is also put at like a 51 point something. And to be honest, that medium, I was saying it in my video about how great it feels, and I couldn't believe how it felt a lot like some of my lower density option brushes. And I didn't realize it until I used some lower density options and then used it. Again, I've said in other videos, but one marketing thing about the Cube is not only is it supposed to help with slickness, but it's a lather booster, meaning it will make your lather more voluminous. And I would say that that is true. I don't know if you always need that per se, but I have noticed that when I use the PAA Cube, no matter what soap I use with it, it does seem to make the lather explode a little bit more. Declaration Grooming, though, always has a really good density to it. It's one of my favorite soaps to work with because of that. Because look, it's already like creamy, like a Greek yogurt. It has good shine to it right now, and it can take water all day. But as you saw, I'm using a high density, and I didn't load for very long. And look, we just got globs of lather. We still have globs of lather on the head right now. But I think we're going to go with that for now, which is pretty nice. We're already there, so we're at set 7. So we're just going to dip it in the water a little bit, and we're going to go straight in. But yeah, like using the H7 right there, the loft doesn't feel bad to me. But now it's starting to make me wonder, would it have been that much more luxurious feeling if I would have got it one more up? I can already tell you this does not feel nearly as smooth as it did yesterday. You know, again, I do think Declaration Grooming base is good. So I wouldn't say it's because, you know, I'm using a crappy base. And you can see all that crap in there. It could partially be also because Voskhod legs, again, are not my favorite. This is its third use and will be its last use. And I guess you could say maybe that this is even used for, because I did use it once to clean up the beard yesterday on yesterday's video. So, I don't know, I guess you could say it's partially the blade too. And it's not bad. Like, it's not bad enough to where I'm like, oh fuck, let me go change out the blade right now. Like, it's not tugging or anything, but it just doesn't feel nearly as velvetly smooth as yesterday's shave did. And, you know, I'm at a lower setting than yet I started at yesterday. So technically this should, to me, be a little bit smoother. And this shave right now, how it's going okay. But it reminds me, like, this is the reason why I was thinking about moving the Gillette Slim. It's just not my favorite shaver. It does the job, but the experience to me isn't as enjoyable as a lot of my other razors are. I mean, even right now, it's like, it's even with how good the grip is, like how much knurling there is on here, like I'm having trouble. Like I'm having trouble gripping that just because the soap is so slick. And that's another thing I don't like about the Slim, and I mentioned it in yesterday's video, is when you have soap on your hands and you want to adjust up or down on the TTO, it's hard because it's just so slippery right now, I can't adjust it. So what I got to do is get a little towel out, and even that is still kind of hard. So we're going to go down to a 5. We were just at 7 for this next one. Put that back down. And going straight to back up. And I don't know, like I said, a little bit more agua on there. This knot, even though it's a whole centimeter, you know, and some change lower than my other H densities, and then this medium density, like, it still doesn't feel bad. Like, it doesn't feel super, like, high backbone or anything like that. But I got to admit, it doesn't splay as easily. Like, the M yesterday splayed so much easier than this one does. And I mean, this one still doesn't take a lot. Like, you can see, that's already splayed. There, and splayed. But, like, when I push into it a little bit, like right here, I can just feel a little bit of pushback because of how dense it is in that center. That I do wish it was just a tad bit easier on the splaying. And I think I've told you guys in a couple of videos, I have a custom that's being worked on by Milton at Turn and Shave. And it's been in works for about the last year. And just like last week or the week before, I finally picked what hair I wanted. And I decided to go with batch 7. And I think I've said it before, but because I already have so much of my other favorite batch, which is 5, and I already have a few of the 3s, and I think batch 3 hair is my third favorite. I think batch 5 is my first, and I think batch 7 is my second. But having so many brushes already in batch 5, I mean, I guess I could have sold 1 or 2 of them and still got the custom in the batch 5. But in the past, I've been really bad at stacking batches that I love. And what I'm trying to do now is not have as many. Because again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 brushes with M5 hair in it of different densities. So that's why I told myself, okay, this custom, like, get something that you like. And I love this. I love the hair on this. It feels great. It's soft. But talking about the loft, I was asking Milton, you know, what loft is he thinking about going with? And he told me 50, which is what he did for this. And I always trust Milton because all of his lofts have been great for me. But the more I was looking at my other cards, I'm like, man, like, this is an M, and this is like a centimeter higher. So why? And then this new one I'm getting, it's a 30 mil. So it's even bigger. It's 2 centimeters bigger than this one, right? Not centimeters, millimeters. It's 2 millimeters bigger. So I'm like, I don't know if it's at the same loft as this 28. It should then, I don't know. To me, it would then feel it should have more backbone than this one does and be harder to display. And I didn't want that. So I asked him, like, you know, do we have to do 50? You know, what's our parameters? And basically, because of how the shaft is drilled in that brush handle, he could play around with about 2 millimeters of adjustment, he told me. And so I was unsure, you know, what to go with. Because I told him, like, the H5 that I have, the 29, I love that, and that's a 52 mil, 52 loft. So I'm like, do I want to do a 52 on this one? Because it's a 30, so it's bigger than that one. But I know the hair is different, and that does factor into it. And, you know, just like most people, he left it up to me. And I was like, you know, basically let me know what you want. And, oh yeah, the slickness on this, even like right now, is great. But I ended up telling him to go with 51. I felt like that was a good in-between. In case for some reason, maybe because M7 hair, the fibers are just so different that a 52 would feel floppy. So I'm going to be interested to see how this 30 feels compared to this right now. And hopefully it's not too floppy, and hopefully it's not too much backbone. But that's kind of like the hard part about buying customized brushes, right? The cool part is you get exactly what you just about exactly what you want, right? In parameters. But translating those parameters into how is it going to feel with the brush is completely dependent on the fibers of those hairs, the batch of hairs, the density of that knot. You know, if I use a 51 loft for a high density brush, that loft is going to feel different in a low density brush, even if the hair is exactly the same and it's at 51. And same thing, if you have two high density brushes, but different batches of hair, both at 51, it could still feel a little different just because the hair fibers, you know, some hair fibers are going to be a little thicker than others, some of them a little thinner. And if they're a little thinner, the characteristics are going to be, you know, probably a little more springy, a little easier to manipulate. And that's why, folks, the brush rabbit hole of shaving can get really deep, and it's just all of matter of chance, you know. And a lot of people know this. It's the same with other artisans like decoration grooming, right? You could buy a used B5 brush, which is, you know, his batch 5, and then you could buy another B5 used on the market thinking, oh, I loved this B5, I want to get one more in a different handle, and you get that B5 and it's a little different of a knot. It feels a little different. It could even have a little bit different of a amount of gel on it. So that's kind of the downside, and that's why sometimes you'll see people will spend so much money on a brush, and then a week, 2 weeks, a month later, they end up just moving it, selling it. It's not because it's a bad brush, but it could be just that it's not to their preference. We're going to go down again, 2 more adjustments. So we're going to go down to 3 for that third pass. So that's the thing. It's all kind of a guessing game, and you have to be willing to buy something to be prepared to then resell it. And when you resell it, yeah, you know, you probably will lose a little bit of money. The only way I've seen that not happen is if somebody buys like a brush this year and say it's really rare and you bought it brand new and they're hard to find, and then 5 years from now or 3 years from now they might fetch a little bit more money than they did new. Like say like Black Eagles, right? Black Eagles aren't made anymore. When they were new, I think they were going for like 3 something and less. Brand new. Now you see Black Eagles being sold for $400, $500, $600, $700. But that's what I call luck of the draw, right? It's almost like it's like being a stock trader, you know, thinking you're going to make a lot of money buying a single company at a low price and then selling it when it's at a high price. The odds of that are just very slim to none. And it's the same thing with brushes. Like, you gotta be willing to buy it to then lose some money. And I've lost money on a lot of my brushes, but I gotta say I haven't moved a lot of my brushes either. But I also sell them quite a bit cheaper than I see other people sell their used stuff for, and that's because I just want to move stuff. Like, again, I'm retired. I make a good amount of money in retirement without having to work passively. That I'm not really worried about, you know, if I bought a brush for, say, $400 from Decoration Grooming, and, you know, if it's a really sought after knot, like say like B14, then yeah, I'm going to probably ask like $330 to $350. But if it's not a very sought after brush, I'm going to probably offer it at $300 or less, you know. So yeah, I lost $100. You know, what is that percentage wise? So 400, 10% would be, you know, $40. So that's like a 25% loss. I don't think that's bad, right? It's used. Even if it's only been used for a month or 2 months, it's still used. To me, a 2-month-old brush is no different than a year-old brush, as long as they're both taken care of, right? You know, as long as they both haven't been dropped and they're not all scratched up. But there's no real difference. To be honest, the more you use a brush, I would say the characteristics probably will get better. They'll get more softer. And they'll probably even be easier to splay because you use them more. Right, because just think about regular hair. Hair, as it gets used, it starts to split, it starts to soften up. It's the same with animal hair. Alright, now let's get some water on the head, see what we got going on, see if we want to do any cleanup, which I gotta admit, usually for my head shaves I don't have to, and sometimes it's hard to feel if I need to because these bases are so slick, and then today with using that PAQ, this is just, I could shave right now without any stuff, and I feel a little bit right here, and yeah, the residual, like, I have no shaving cream soap on my head right now. And this is just gliding. That was good though, 3 passes. Did the Gillette Slim perform as good today as it did yesterday? No. Did it still perform really well? Yes. It honestly did. I can't knock on it today. It still performed better today than what I remember it performing at in the past, which is pretty crazy to be honest. So let me just get that soap off. And this feels great. Like, I feel like I don't even need a post shave. And eventually, I think that's where I'm going to transition to, is I'm going to transition to eventually not getting matching splashes anymore. Just because one, I guess you could say it saves some money, right? I think that's a big impact for most people, even in the wet shaving community, is by not having a matching splash, you save money. Because like this matching splash, it's probably like 20 to 25 bucks. So anytime you get a soap set, you're saving 20 or 25 bucks by not getting the splash. Again, I don't really need to save any more money because I already still save quite a bit, even though I'm retired. But I would say the big thing for me, again, living in an RV, space. So it would be nice to have a little less stuff in my den. And one could argue to say that we'll just have less soap sets, you know? Instead of getting rid of all your splashes, just get rid of more soap sets and still keep your matching splashes. Put a little bit more. Wow. Wow. That's nice. The splash is quite a bit stronger than the soap. The soap is this, I didn't even talk about the soap scent. The soap is this beautiful green floral woody scent. Really great. By far, if you like Fougères and you want something unique to your Fougere den, this to me is it. And Declaration Grooming, the soap base is great. Don't quote me on this, but the perfuming from it was House of Mammoth. The soap base is from Declaration Grooming, and the splash is from Noble Otter. That's how the 3 collab went. And they also did the fall winter one, which is just Cerberus, which is a banger too. But that was a really good shave. But yeah, eventually I think I will go away with the splashes just to save room, and maybe just go with one really good, high quality, unscented splash, whichever one I find being the best, which I don't know what that is yet, and then one really great unscented balm. So far, the best balm I've tried, in my opinion, is Holy Call. And I haven't tried everybody's. I know Zingari Man supposedly has a really good balm too. I haven't tried hers. I don't know who has the best splash so far. I gotta say, Noble Otter splash is really great. McDuff's is a really good splash. Zingari Man's is a really good splash. So I don't know which one I would probably go with yet, because I haven't really done side-by-side tests yet. But yeah, that's enough for my rant. So yeah, again, like, this you saw, it displays easy, it performs great. Hopefully that 51 millimeter, it doesn't become too floppy. Hopefully I didn't fuck that up. We'll see. I should be getting that, it should be set in the handle next week. I would assume I won't get that brush until probably the next week after. So probably mid-April is when I'll get that new brush to the den. and I'll be looking forward to that. So for today, let's do a recap. We used this Turn and Shave H7. It's in the Galaxy Pour. You guys know I'm a sucker for the Galaxy Pour, man. I know some people might be like, that's stupid. You already, you know, I have the same Galaxy Pour in my M6. Now, each Galaxy Pour is different, though. You know, in a glance right here, they might look the same, but the blues are a little different. There's like hues of purple in this one. The sparkle's a little different. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker for it. And that's where maybe, as I'm kind of downsizing my den, maybe I'll think about like, hey, trading somebody this Galaxy M6 for their whatever handle M6, so that way I have different pours. But I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for the TNS Galaxy pours, man. We did use the PA Cube as our pre-shave. We used the collab of Declaration Grooming, House of Mammoth, and Noble Otter for Fougere, or should I say Cerberus Fougere, right? Is that how you say it, or is it Fougere Cerberus? Nope. Cerberus Fougere. The razor, I still think I'm going to move it though, but it has been performing pretty damn good, is the 1966 Gillette Slim. It's flawless. It's been revamped in gold. And we used the Voskhod that had 3 to 4 uses on it, and that's going to be its last use. I appreciate you guys coming along. I really do hope that the video quality is okay, even though the lighting in here might not be the best. And I'll catch you guys on the next shave.